Good evening from Washington, D.C. Thanks for joining us for news from a Catholic perspective. I'm Jason Calvi, in for Lauren Ashburn. Getting back to work. A judge rules CNN's Jim Acosta is allowed back at the White House, at least temporarily. Last week, the Trump administration took away his credential. Acosta says he's pleased by the decision.
I want to thank all of my colleagues in the press who supported us this week, and I want to thank the judge for the decision he made today. And let's go back to work. Thank you.
Acosta lost his press pass after clashing with the president in a news conference. The White House says it's working on new rules to make sure there's a fair and orderly question and answer session. Amber Athey of the Daily Caller joins me now. She's also written for CatholicVote.org. Amber, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
So today, Jim Acosta temporarily is allowed back into the White House. How do you think this will impact others covering the White House?
I imagine that the reporters would want to operate in a more fair and orderly fashion to prevent this kind of circus from happening again. I think all of this was really just a distraction where a reporter made himself the news story instead of covering the news, and ultimately it went to court. But if you look at the White House's statement in response to this ruling, they noted that the judge only made an argument about the Fifth Amendment right to due process in this case and thought that the White House was not fair in the way that they revoked Acosta's pass, and not necessarily that they weren't able to do so in the first place. So the White House will likely implement these processes and procedures for if they choose to revoke passes in the future, hopefully to prevent any future lawsuits.
So do you think there will be future revocations of credentials?
If I had to guess, I would say that the White House is going to give Acosta another chance. I don't think they're going to pursue this specific lawsuit any further, but the next time that Acosta acts anywhere out of line, I think they will try to take his pass away again, but they will do so through some kind of official process that they've lined out in order to prevent this Fifth Amendment due process argument.
So Amber, one of the things that Sarah Huckabee Sanders is talking about is laying out these rules, these guidelines for their press conferences. I mean, what can come of that? What do you think these rules, what do you think is going to be in those rules?
Yeah, it's interesting. My guess is based on the reasons that they did revoke Acosta's pass in the first place, which were things like shouting out of turn, getting more than the normal 2 questions that are normally allotted to a reporter, having a debate with the president as opposed to actually asking specific questions. I would imagine all of those things might be included in a process for the White House or rules for White House reporters. And any reporter that tries to seek a hard pass to White House grounds will have to abide by those rules, or they risk losing that pass.
But isn't this going to be seen in some way as an attempt to silence tough questions?
It will, but I think there's a real distinct difference between asking tough questions, which a reporter absolutely should do. Our reporters do it all the time in the White House briefing room. There's a difference between that and then trying to actually have a debate with the president, which if you watch that press conference, what Jim Acosta did was he opened his line of questioning with saying that he wanted to challenge the president and then basically had a debate with him about what his definition of invasion was. And you hear the president respond to Jim Acosta by saying, we have a difference of opinion. So that's not really the role of a journalist, to go in there with an opinion and try to debate the president on it. Tough questions should be encouraged, they should be allowed, and those are ultimately 2 different things.
So this case will be working its way through the courts. So this isn't the end of the story, but thank you very much, Amber Athey from the Daily Caller. Thanks so much for being with us today. Appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you.